Yo, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Zwigo and welcome back to another video. Today we will be diving into Pokemon Crystal, a game that I haven't played too much on the channel yet. And a load of people have been asking me to do a youngster playthrough. So why not do it in the place where youngster Joey was born, Johto. Youngsters are always categorized as very bad players, like youngster Joey with his top percentage rattata. Well, I'm here to see how an actual youngster would do against the whole Johto region, because they do have some decent Pokemon available to them. This is the entire list that I can use. This includes Zubat, Rattata, Pidgey, Spearow, Fearow, Sandshrew, Sandslash, Growlithe, and Wooper, but I wasn't able to find a Wooper, so I won't use him either. I also can't evolve my Pidgey because none of the trainers have a Pidgeotto or Pidgeot, and I can't get a Crobat because none of the trainers have a Golbat either, and Growlithe also can't evolve into Arcanine. The rules are the same as always, only youngster Pokemon in battle, no items in battle, and I'm allowed to use a Gem Pokemon. Don't forget to smash that like button, click that subscribe button, and turn on them notifications. And also don't forget to follow me on Twitter because I will be doing a big announcement on there in the next few days, and you definitely don't want to miss that. So with that out of the way, let's get right into the youngster playthrough. Of course, we have to start off by naming ourselves Joey after the ultimate youngster. And then we go to Professor Elm's lab because he's having a rat infestation, aka we have to choose Rattata as our starter here. We then give our precious little rat the nickname Ratman so that he can fit in with a superhero team with Zubatman. Then we go to Professor Pokemon's house to pick up some breakfast and also get the Pokedex from Professor Oak. After that, it's time for our first rival fight, and I gave him Totodile because Fraligator is the coolest starter in this gen. Since my Rattata is already level 7, I'm easily able to take down the Totodile with a few quick attacks and then head on back to Professor Elm's lab. We see that the police is investigating some kind of crime scene because apparently some red-haired kid stole a crocodile. I guess you shouldn't keep crocodiles in your house, they'll just get stolen. We name our rival Noob because if he actually loses to a youngster, he's a pretty big noob. Then I run around in the grass for a little bit longer to find myself my second team member, Pidgey. I named him PP because I felt like that's really a very good name for a bird. And then I defeated my arch nemesis, youngster Joey himself. My Rattata is clearly top percentage here. I then go into a cave to capture myself a Zubat, to name him Zubatman like always, and now our superhero team is complete. We then travel to the top of Sprout Tower to take on the Sage up there and also have a little bit of a chat with Noob. But since my Pidgey leveled up a whole bunch inside the tower of killing all of those Bellsprouts, it's already level 12 and I was easily able to take down the Sage with just my PP. He then gives us the HM for Flash, which is not going to be that useful for us. And then we go to the first gym to take on the Birch Poop gym leader, Faulkner. My Rattata is now level 11, which is a little bit too high for his first Pokemon Pidgey. And since he has the power of the Flash, with 3 quick attacks, the Pidgey goes down. The next Pokemon is his Pidgeotto, and I was able to get off 2 more quick attacks before he got taken out by a gust, so I had to switch in PP to finish off this battle. In my eyes, Pokemon Gold, Crystal, and Silver are one of the easiest Pokemon games out there. I mean, the first gym leader has a level 9 Pidgeotto, and that's his best Pokemon. Not too hard to beat. Then I travel to Union Cave to get myself another team member in the form of Sandshrew, and I name him Sonic because he's also kind of a hedgehog. As I leave Union Cave, there is also another opportunity to capture another team member in the form of Spearow, which I also name Ace like all of my other Spearows in different runs. Then an old man fell down the Slowpoke well, he broke his back, and I saved all of the Slowpokes. After that, I tried to leave town, but a noob stood in my way and wanted to find me again. And I started off with the wrong Pokemon Rattata, so I immediately had to switch in Zubatman, and he put me to sleep turn 1. Luckily, I just kept on spamming Bite, and eventually the Ghastly went down, and he also put a curse on me. And cursing is not allowed on the Zwigo YouTube channel. Next up was his Zubatman, so my Rattata made easy work of him with 2 Hyper Fangs. Then his starter, Crocodile, came out and I had to stay in with Rattata. I was able to get off 3 Hyper Fangs, but 3 water guns was way too much and my rat drowned. I switched in Zubatman, he was able to get off a bite, but that didn't kill, so he killed me with a scratch. And then my PP finished off the Crocodile with another quick attack to win ourselves the battle. And I can't progress any further, so it was time for me to take on the male or female Buxy. But this fight was a joke. My Pidgey was able to take down all of her Pokemon by spamming Gust the whole time. They couldn't even touch me. Even Scyther, which is actually a pretty good Pokemon, wasn't able to touch my PP. Oh, that didn't come out right. I meant I won the battle very easily with my Pidgey. Then I ran after a bird for a few minutes and I got the HM to cut down tiny little trees. And I didn't record it, but my Rattata also evolved into Eradicate. And with this new rat, I took on the mighty Whitney. As always, she starts off with her Clefairy, who loves to use Metronome. But her Metronome wasn't that good, it was just Rain Dance, and for the rest of this battle, she just used Double Slap, so my Pidgey was easily able to take it out with some quick attacks. Next up was the thick girl, Miltank. So I switched into Ratman. I was able to get off 3 Hyper Fangs before she got a rollout going and actually took me out with 3 of them because the last one was a critical hit. Luckily, I still had Pidgey on my team, and with a quick attack this battle was over. I don't know why people make such a big deal out of Whitney. I never have any problems with her Miltank. Then on the next route I found myself a little fire puppy and I captured that and named it K9. I then made a tree mad because I put some water on it. Look at that face. That's the face I make when I'm in a very awkward situation. And then I went into this burned building because I'm 10 years old and I don't care about safety hazards. And look who's here. It's our rival. Let's fight him. I knew that he would start off with his Haunter, so I led with my Zubatman and took him down with 3 bites. Next up was Magnemite, so I switched into K9, but we got taken out by a critical Thunder Shock, so we weren't able to land a hit. Then I switched into my Eradicate to take down the Magnemite with a few Hyper Fangs. Zubat was an easy 2-shot with Hyper Fang and Quick Attack, even though it used Confuse Ray on us. And last up was Crocodile, and to get rid of the confusion on Eradicate, I switched into Pidgey to get off a few Quick Attacks and get it into about half health. Then he sprayed me with his water gun and my PP sadly enough went down. So after PP went down, switched into my Ratman and finished off this battle with a Hyper Fang. Then I decided to go to the next gym, which is led by Morty and his ghost types. But his Gengar has moves like Hypnosis and Dream Eater, which are way too much for my team at this moment in time. And it also doesn't help that he outspeeds every single Pokemon on my team, so I decided to take on the Lighthouse first to get myself some more levels. So after talking to Jasmine and her sick Ampharos, I went back to Morty to beat his ass. This time I led with the Growlithe and I was able to take down the first Ghastly with 2 bites. The second Haunter used Curse and I was able to get it down into red health with another bite, but then he took me out with a Nightshade next turn. Since Ace is normal type, I switched into him and took down the Haunter with a Peck. Next up was his ace Pokemon Gengar, so I had to switch in my Pidgey and Sand Attack away at him. And since Hypnosis itself isn't really an accurate move, I was doing pretty damn good. Eventually I was able to set up all of my Sand Attacks, and then I also used Gust a couple of times so that I was able to get him down into orange health. But then he put me to sleep and killed me with a Dream Eater, sadly enough. Then I switched in Zubatman to kill the Gengar with a few more bites because it wasn't able to hit me anymore. Last up was Haunter, and this thing wasn't able to touch my Zubatman. Even though it did get off a few Nightshades, I was still able to win this battle with a few more bites. Then I went to the local strip club to beat up all of those very nice women up there, and a man in there was so impressed with me that he gave me the ability to walk on water. After that, my Sandshrew evolved into a Sand Slash. I found Suicune on the next island, and guess who was there as well? You seen the Stalker. I told him to leave my girl Suicune alone, and I beat him up in a Pokemon battle. He then cried and ran away as I made my way up to the next gym. And while I was fighting the trainers in the gym, my Spearow evolved into a Fearow. And I talked to Chuck and he was like, look at me, I can throw a boulder on top of a statue. And I was like, very cool. please don't kill me. And then he laughed and we had a good battle. He of course like always starts off with his Primeape and I lead with my level 21 Fearow. And even though he's 6 levels lower, I was still able to take down the Primeape without even taking any damage because he missed his Fury swipes. Next up was Poliwrath and I was able to land 3 picks before he landed 1 dynamic punch and took down my bird. So then I switched in Ratman and took down the Poliwrath with a Hyper Fang. With this newly acquired badge and secret potion, I went back to Jasmine the Cure Ampharos and make sure there are no more ships sailing into each other. I knew that at this level I wasn't going to be able to take down Jasmine, so I grinded up my Growlithe and my Sandslash a lot in the grass against Rattatas and Ratigates and stuff. There are also Tauros and Miltanks available, so this isn't too bad of a grinding spot. After grinding them up a little bit, I went to Jasmine's gym, but level 19 isn't enough to outspeed a Magnemite and we got taken out by a single Thunderbolt. So then I switched in Sandslash to take down the Magnemite with 2 more Mud Slaps. Next up was Steelix, but this thing couldn't touch my Sandslash because my first dynamic punch lands and I confused him and he just kept on hitting himself in its confusion, and 2 more dynamic punches took down the Steelix. Last up was the second Magnemite and I dynamic punched that thing in the face as well to win myself the 6th gym badge. Then I went to the Lake of Rage to beat up a red Gyarados, which was very easy. I wanted to capture it, but I didn't have any Pokeballs with me. Then I talked to Lance, who said that there is a secret Team Rocket hideout back in Mahogany Town, so we beat that up rather quickly. Their admins couldn't even touch us, because Team Rocket in this game is actually a joke. Can you please tell me in the comments down below if you've ever had any trouble with a Team Rocket grunt / admin in this game, because I haven't. We then save the Electrodes and head to Price's gym, which is the 7th one. He starts off with Seal while I start off with my Growlithe. And I immediately realized that I can't really do anything to it, so I have to switch into my Raticate. And he is able to take down the Seal with a Hyper Fang and a Quick Attack combo. Next up is Dewgong, so I decide to switch into Sandslash to try and hit it with some dynamic punches, but I sadly enough wasn't able to even hit one of them, so the Dewgong was able to take me out with some ice moves. So then I switched into Fearow, hit it with a Fly, then he went down, switched into Zubatman, hit it with a Wing Attack, but then he went down as well, and then Raticate could finish off the Dewgong with a Hyper Fang. Last up was Piloswine, and I stayed in with Ratman. I was able to hit 2 Hyper Fangs, which did some solid damage, but the Piloswine did take me out with 2 Blizzards. So then I switched in my Growlithe and I was able to take down the Piloswine with another Ember. So then I went down into the sewers of Goldenrod City to fight my rival once again. His first Pokemon was a Golbat, who was actually able to take down my Fearow with a few wing attacks, even though I was able to bring it down into red health with some flies. So then I had to switch into my Raticate and finish off the Golbat with a quick attack. Next up is Magnemite, so I switch in K9 and take that thing down with an Ember or 2. Next up was Feraligatr, who was able to take down with my Raticate's Hyper Fang and Quick Attack like always, and then Haunter came out, and luckily my Raticate did have Pursuit this time. So 2 Pursuits got rid of the Haunter, and last up was Sneasel. And because my Raticate's fangs are so strong, we managed to bite through that thing as well and win the rival fight. Then I went to the Radio Tower to save the Radio Director. And that was that. I drove Team Rocket out of there like it was nothing, and we can head on to Claire. But I wasn't quite ready yet. I tried this fight over 20 to 30 times, but at the levels that I'm at right now, this isn't possible at all. I can get to her Kingdra, but then it stops. It just one-shots me every single time with Surf, so I knew I had to grind. Luckily down here, there is a road with a few more trainers, and there are also some decent wild Pokemon in the grass to grind on. So after grinding everybody up a lot of levels, I was finally able to go back to Claire and tell her who's boss. Her first Pokemon Dragonair met my Raticate on not that good of a note because it bit it with a Hyper Fang and then took it out with a Quick Attack, even though that we got paralyzed. I also knew that it had Surf, so that's why I didn't lead with Sandslash. Now her third Dragonair also has Ice Beam, so I can't use Sandslash against her either, but the second one doesn't have anything super effective against Sandslash, so I switch him in and take down that Dragonair with my Sandslash. Now the last Dragonair came out and my Sandslash had enough HP to take it down, so I stayed in with my Sandslash and took down that Dragonair with 2 slashes. And then last up was the Kingdra, and that thing sadly took my Sandslash down with a serve because it outsped. So then I switched in my Raticate to take down this Kingdra with a few strengths, because it actually used Hyper Beam and had to recharge a turn, and that's why I was able to take it out. Like always, Claire didn't want to give us the badge, so we had to go to the Dragon's Den, do a little bit of a quiz there, and then she gave us the badge and the TM for Dragon Breath. Then I took down the last rival battle as well in Victory Road, and this was really not that hard of a battle actually. So I'm just gonna summarize it for you real quick. Firo killed Haunter, Sonic killed Magneton, Sonic also killed Fraligator even though he was super effective against me. Sonic then also took down Golbat and Kadabra. Oh, and Haunter didn't get taken out by my ace, so I had to take that thing down with Ratman and his pursuit. Then I decided to go to the Pokemon League and take it on straight away. My Sandslash was able to get the Xatu into red health and then went down, so I switched in my Firo to finish that thing off. My Raticate was able to take down the Jinx with a strength, and Firo was able to take down the Exeggutor with 2 flies and a peck because he managed to set up a Reflect. My Ratman was able to kill Slowbro with the strength and 2 Hyper Fangs because it just kept on boosting its stats. And last but not least was a Xatu, so my Rat was able to take that thing down with 2 Hyper Fangs and finish the first Elite 4 member battle. And then it was time for Koga, the second Elite 4 member, one of the easiest ones in this game. His first Pokemon is an Ariados, who I was able to take down with a Fly and a Peck from Ace. Next out was Fortress, and my K9 was able to do some decent damage with Ember and take it down into red health, but 2 Swifts meant the end of my doggy. So I switched in Sonic to take down the Fortress with a Slash. Next up was Venomoth, who managed to hit me with a Toxic and also do some decent damage with Psychic, but my second Slash was a critical hit to take him down. Crobat then came out and I was able to get off a Slash, and it was a critical hit to get it down into orange health, but then he used a full restore. I hit it with another Slash, but then he took me out. So then I switched in Ratman and was able to take down Crobat with 2 more strengths, and last up was his Muck. I got off one last strength with my Rat, but then he took me out with a Sludge Bomb, so I had to switch in my final hope, Ace. I started off with a Fury attack, but it didn't do enough damage, so then I went for a Fly. It did some decent damage, but it didn't take him out, and then I finished off the Muck with a Fury attack. This was actually a pretty damn close battle. Next up was Brew, yes. Ha, see what I did there? Because Brew, no, yes. And he, like always, starts off with his Hitmontop, so I again lead with Firo. He was able to take down the Hitmontop with 3 flies, which is a lot, and we also took a lot of damage in the process, which isn't good. Next up was an Onix, so I switched in Sandslash to take it down with a Dynamic Punch and a Mud Slap because it couldn't hit me because it hit itself in its confusion. Next was Hitmonchan, so I switched in Firo, but sadly enough he had Mach Punch, which took me out and outsped because it's a priority move. So I switched in Raticate, who missed his Hyper Fang and got taken out by 2 Mach Punches, so my Sandslash had to finish off this Hitmonchan with 2 slashes. Next was Hitmonlee, where I got a critical slash on to take it out, and last up was Machamp, who was actually able to take down my Sandslash and end the battle right there and then, so I went back in there and I beat his Machamp next time with my Sandslash this time because he was at full health. So then I went to the last Elite 4 member, Claire. Since her first Pokemon was Umbreon, I led off with Sandslash and took it down with a Dynamic Punch and a Slash. Vileplume then came out, so I switched in Ace, finished that thing off with 2 flies. Gengar was next, and since there are no abilities in this game yet, I had to switch back into Sandslash, who was able to take that thing down with 3 Mud Slaps. And then her last 2 Pokemon, Murkrow and Houndoom, were both easy 2 shots with my Ratigate's strength, even though Houndoom Flamethrower, which left my Rat with 3 health, but he was still strong enough to take down the Houndoom and win ourselves the battle. Now it was time for Lance, the Dragon Master. We all know how he loves to spam full restores, and because he loves to spam full restores, this was actually our downfall here. I was not able to defeat Lance at this level. I didn't even manage to get down to his last Pokemon. So I knew that I had to go and leave the Pokemon League to grind, which was something I wasn't looking forward to because that meant that I had to go through the Elite Four again. again just to beat Lance. Luckily I was able to find a very good grinding spot at the route just below Victory Road, since there are mostly evolved Pokemon there like Arbok, but there's also Ponytas who also give off a load of experience. So after spending about an hour of grinding there, I was able to bring up all of my 3 best Pokemon up to level 55. I knew that by now Growlithe and Zubat weren't going to be used very frequently, so I just left them alone. And with my grounded up team, I went back to Lance. Well, since he starts off with Gyarados, I decided to lead with Eradicate, even though I don't have any super effective moves on him. I just go for 2 Hyper Fangs to take it out because it just decided to set up a rain dance. Next up was Dragonite, so I switched in Sonic and I was able to set up a rollout on it and take it down with 2 of them. Now that my rollout's going strong, I take down the next Dragonite in a single hit. And it keeps building up. Another rollout takes out the next Pokemon Aerodactyl in a single hit too. Charizard is 4 times weak to rock, so you know that thing isn't living a rollout. And on the last Dragonite I had to set up again, but still I managed to win this battle by just rollouting away basically. That does learn me something. The whole team of Lance is literally weak to rock types, even Gyarados. So we beat the main game of Pokemon Crystal, but this isn't the end yet. We still have to beat up Blue and all of the other gym leaders together with Red. So first I take on all of the gym leaders, which was very easy, so I'm just gonna skip straight to Blue. My team has leveled up quite a bit since the last time and are now around level 60. As always, he leads off with his Pidgeot, so I lead with my Sandslash and start up my rollout again. I was able to take that Pidgeot down with 3 of them, and next up was Gyarados, who got 1 shot. That felt really good. Next up was Executor, who we also one-shot. I have no idea how, but it's dead. Next was Alakazam, who also got 1 shot. Arcanine managed to hit me with a flamethrower, which took me down to 18 health, but an Earthquake was also a single one-shot. Rhydon was his final Pokemon, and he managed to tank an Earthquake and take out my Sandslash, but Fearow was there to clean up the scraps and kill it with a Drill Peck to win our final gym badge in Kanto. So then I had to grind up my team to be ready for Red. And boy did I have to do a lot of grinding. So much that I even found a shiny Arbok. I managed to throw my Master Ball at it and it's now in my PC forever and it will never leave, because I'm never touching this save file again. But hey, it's nice to have. So with my 3 Pokemon grinded up to level 70, I went to the top of Mount Silver to battle my final opponent, Red. Of course, he starts off with his beloved Pikachu, and I can only start off with 1 Pokemon here, that being Sandslash. Next up was Venusaur, so I switched in Fearow. I went for a Drill Peck, but then he set up a Sunny Day like a big noob, so I could finish him off next turn. Next up was Blastoise, so I started off by going for a Fly and then took him out with 2 Drill Pecks because somehow he missed all of his moves and didn't even get a dent in my Fearow. Next was Espeon, and that thing was able to land a Psychic, which did a load of damage, but still 2 Drill Pecks was enough. Next was Snorlax, and Fearow got off 1 last Drill Peck before he got banished to the Shadow Realm by Snorlax's Body Slam. I then switched in Eradicate, who was able to actually win this fight against Snorlax and took him down with 2 Strength because Body Slam didn't one-shot. And last up was Charizard, and I got so lucky here with my Eradicate. I went for a Hyper Fang. The Charizard flinched. I went for another Hyper Fang, and he flinched again, and then I was able to finish him off and win this challenge as a youngster. So that's that. We are yet again champion of the Johto and Kanto region. We beat Red once again, and this time as a youngster. I have to say, youngsters actually have access to some pretty damn good Pokemon. People that say that Eradicate isn't a good Pokemon, you're wrong. It's very good. Definitely try this challenge in maybe a different gen if you want to. It's a load of fun to do. And thank you so much for watching. Of course, like always, I have to thank my members and Patreons, which are helping me to support the channel. Benatril, Miki Googla, Kenzie Bunk, and Felipe Morla. Now, if you want to become a member or a Patreon yourself, you can click the links in the description. You get access to some very cool emotes if you decide to become a member, as well as a special Discord chat. Now, I want to thank you guys for watching, and as always, people, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. I'm Zwigo, and I'll see you guys next time.